You're one of the earliest humans living 300,000 years ago. There's no music, no alcohol, no complex language to share jokes or stories. Your vocabulary consists of maybe a few dozen basic sounds, yet somehow you and your group still find ways to laugh, play, and enjoy yourselves. This is the fascinating story of how our earliest ancestors discovered fun and entertainment, using nothing but their bodies, their environment, and their surprisingly creative minds. If you're curious about how our earliest ancestors found joy in a world without any of our modern entertainment, smash that subscribe button right now. We're just starting this channel, and we need your support to grow. Also, drop a comment telling us the city you're watching from. We love to see how far these stories travel. When researchers analyze ancient sites from our earliest ancestors, they find evidence of activities that served no survival purpose, the earliest signs of what we might call fun. These discoveries challenge our assumptions about early human life and reveal that the drive to play and enjoy ourselves is far older than language, music, or any cultural development we typically associate with entertainment. The first and most obvious form of early human entertainment was physical play. Archaeological evidence shows that even our earliest ancestors engaged in activities that can only be described as games. Stone throwing competitions, wrestling matches, and chase games left traces in the archaeological record. Smooth, rounded stones found at ancient sites often show wear patterns that suggest they were used for throwing games rather than tools. These stones are perfectly sized for human hand and show evidence of repeated impact, suggesting that early humans spent considerable time practicing their throwing accuracy. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans developed complex competitive activities that involved entire groups. Large, flat areas near living sites show evidence of heavy foot traffic in specific patterns, suggesting organized group activity. These areas often contain small stones arranged in circles or lines, possibly marking boundaries or scoring systems for primitive game. These locations contain collections of objects that serve no practical purpose, but show evidence of repeated handling and manipulation. Smooth pebbles, interesting shaped rocks, and even fossilized objects that were clearly collected and transported from distant locations. Early humans were creating the world's first toy collections, gathering objects purely for their entertainment value. Archaeological evidence shows that even our earliest ancestors used ochre, charcoal, and other natural pigments to decorate their bodies. This wasn't just for camouflage or protection. The patterns and designs suggest aesthetic choices made for pleasure. Some cave sites contain evidence of ochre preparation areas where early humans ground pigments and mixed them with animal fat to create body paints. Archaeological sites often contain multiple grinding stones for ochre preparation, suggesting that body painting was a social activity. The patterns found on ancient tools, cave walls suggest that early humans developed complex design systems, creating intricate patterns that served no survival function, but brought aesthetic pleasure to the group. Dance and rhythmic movement were among the earliest forms of human entertainment, even without music. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans cleared large areas for group activities that involved coordinated movement. The wear patterns on cave floors and open areas suggest that early humans engaged in repetitive rhythmic activity can only be described as primitive dance. These activities often took place around fires, with the flickering flames providing visual stimulation and creating shadows that enhance the entertainment value. These ancient footprints, preserved in mud and later fossilized, show evidence of early humans moving in synchronized patterns. The spacing and positioning of these footprints suggest that early humans were capable of coordinated group movement that served no practical purpose other than group entertainment and bonding. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans spent considerable time imitating animals, each other, and natural phenomena. Cave paintings often show figures in exaggerated poses that suggest theatrical performance rather than realistic representation. These images suggest that early humans developed complex systems of nonverbal communication and entertainment based on mimicry and gesture. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans were capable of creating and appreciating even without complex language. Cave paintings often show figures in absurd or exaggerated situations that suggest comedic intent. Some images show early humans with oversized body parts, in impossible positions, or engaged in activities that would have been funny to their contemporaries. Tools and objects positioned in ways that would have surprised or startled other group members. Hidden caches of interesting objects that were clearly meant to be discovered, and even primitive booby traps that would have caused minor inconveniences rather than harm. Early humans were developing the first practical joke traditions. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans spent considerable time in and around water for purposes that went beyond drinking, fishing, or bathing. Stone tools found in water environments often show wear patterns that suggest they were used for water games rather than practical activities. Smooth, flat stones that were perfect for skipping across water surfaces have been found at numerous early human sites. These structures served no practical purpose but show evidence of considerable time and effort invested in creation. Early humans were building the world's first sand castles, creating complex structures that were clearly designed for entertainment rather than shelter or protection. Tool play and manipulation games were another significant form of early human entertainment. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans created tools and objects that served no practical purpose, but were clearly designed for manipulation and play. These objects often show evidence of repeated handling, modification, and experimentation. Early humans were essentially creating the first fidget toys, objects that provided sensory stimulation and entertainment through manipulation. The development of primitive puzzles and problem-solving games is particularly fascinating. Archaeological sites often contain objects that appear to be deliberately designed to be challenging to manipulate or use. Complex knots and plant fibers, intricately carved objects with multiple parts, and even primitive mechanical devices that required skill to operate. Early humans were creating entertainment that challenged their minds as well as their bodies. The most compelling evidence comes from sites that show evidence of what archaeologists call play tools. These are objects that are clearly tools but are made with far more decoration, complexity, and artistic effort than would be necessary for their practical function. Early humans were creating beautiful objects not just for survival, but for the pleasure of creating and owning beautiful things. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans developed complex systems of non-verbal storytelling, using gesture, body movement, and visual aids. Cave paintings often show sequences of images that suggest narrative structure, while the positioning and organization of these images suggests that they were used as aids in non-verbal storytelling performances. The most fascinating evidence comes from sites that show evidence of what archaeologists call story circle. These are areas where groups clearly gathered regularly for activities that involved one individual performing while others watched. The wear patterns and organization of these spaces suggest that early humans had developed formal systems for group entertainment that involved performance and audience participation. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans collected and manipulated objects purely for their sensory properties. Collections of smooth stones, interesting textures, aromatic plants, and even objects that made interesting sounds when manipulated. Early humans were creating the first sensory toys, objects that provided entertainment through touch, smell, and sound. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans developed formalized competitive activities that involved skill, strategy, and physical prowess. Large, cleared areas near living sites often show evidence of organized activities that involved running, jumping, throwing, and other physical competitions. These activities often left traces in the form of worn pathways, cleared areas, and even primitive scoreboards made from arranged stones. The most compelling evidence comes from sites that show evidence of what archaeologists call competition artifacts. These are objects that were clearly created for competitive activities rather than practical use. Specially crafted throwing stone, running markers, and even primitive trophies made from interesting rocks or bone. Early humans were creating the first sporting equipment and prize system. Archaeological evidence shows that early human children engaged in play activities that were remarkably sophisticated for their age. Miniature tools, small versions of adult objects, and even primitive toys that were clearly designed for child entertainment. Early humans were creating the first toy industry, developing objects specifically designed for child play development. Areas where adults and children clearly engaged in entertainment activities together, with objects and spaces designed to accommodate both age groups. Early humans were developing the first family entertainment system, creating activities that brought multiple generations together for shared fun and bonding. Archaeological evidence suggests that different seasons brought different forms of entertainment, with early humans adapting their play activities to match available resources and environmental conditions. Winter entertainment often involved indoor activities focused on object manipulation and storytelling, while summer entertainment involved more physical activities and water play. These are collections of objects that were clearly stored for future entertainment use, suggesting that early humans planned and prepared for their leisure activity. Collections of interesting stones, decorative objects, and even primitive musical instruments that were stored and maintained for group entertainment. Even our earliest ancestors, struggling to survive in a dangerous world, still found time and energy to create activities that brought joy, laughter, and social bonding. These entertainment activities weren't just ways to pass time. They were essential for group cohesion, stress relief, and the development of the social skills that would eventually lead to human civilization. Archaeological evidence suggests that early humans understood the healing power of play and entertainment. Sites often contain evidence of entertainment activities taking place in areas designated for caring for the sick and injured. The positioning of play objects near what appear to be recovery areas suggests that early humans used entertainment as a form of primitive medical therapy. These locations contain collections of smooth stones, interesting textures, and objects that appear to have been specifically chosen for their calming and therapeutic property. Early humans were developing the first forms of play therapy, using entertainment to help group members recover from trauma, illness, and injury. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans created games that involved uncertainty and risk, suggesting that the thrill of gambling is far older than civilization. Collections of marked stone, bones with carved symbols, and even primitive dice made from animal bones have been found at early human sites. These objects show evidence of repeated use and appear to have been used for games of chance rather than practical purpose. The social hierarchies that developed around early human entertainment were complex and often surprising. Archaeological evidence suggests that skill at certain forms of entertainment could elevate an individual's status within the group. Areas designated for competitive activities often contain evidence of special treatment for skilled performers, including better access to food, tool, and shelter. Early humans were creating the first entertainment industry, with skilled and receiving social benefits for their ability. The most compelling evidence comes from burial sites that contain individuals buried with collections of entertainment objects. These burials suggest that entertainment skills were so valued that the objects associated with them were considered essential for the afterlife. Some individuals were buried with elaborate collections of gaming stones, decorative objects, and even primitive musical instruments, suggesting that their entertainment abilities were a defining characteristic of their identity. The innovation and creativity displayed in early human entertainment is truly remarkable. Archaeological evidence shows that early humans were constantly developing new forms of play and entertainment, experimenting with different materials, techniques, and concepts. Sites often contain evidence of entertainment objects that were clearly prototypes or experiments, suggesting that early humans were actively innovating in their leisure activity. The most fascinating evidence comes from sites that show evidence of what archaeologists call entertainment evolution. These locations contain layers of artifacts that show the development of entertainment concepts over time. Simple throwing stones evolving into complex gaming systems, basic body painting developing into elaborate artistic traditions, and primitive physical competitions becoming sophisticated sporting events. Archaeological evidence suggests that the entertainment activities developed by early humans were crucial for developing the mental skills that would eventually lead to language, art, and civilization. The problem-solving required for games, the creativity needed for artistic activities, and the social skills developed through group entertainment all contributed to the cognitive evolution of our species. Many of our most basic entertainment instincts, the desire to play games, create beautiful objects, engage in physical competition, and share experiences with others, can be traced back to the activities developed by our earliest ancestors. These ancient forms of fun laid the foundation for all human entertainment that followed. We're exploring the hidden creativity and ingenuity of our earliest ancestors, revealing that the human drive to have fun is as old as humanity itself. Like this video, share it with someone who'd find it interesting, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.